my YT channel. This is going to be content creator Sotero. So our topic for today, or at this juncture, will be on how to write a formal letter or a semi-formal letter, or it's going to be informal letter. So I'll teach you a little bit of what are the tips, okay, tips and tricks on how to make a formal letter, semi-formal letter, and also informal letter. Okay, so I need to select the best question or questions. Okay, wait. Actually, so, in the international examination, you will be given 20 minutes to do this task. Okay, specifically, it is really the task one of a writing examination. Okay, guys. Okay. What's this? Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Question number one, you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. Your public library wants to make improvements to their services and facilities in order to get ideas from the public. They have asked library users to send them suggestions in writing. Write a letter to the librarian. In your letter, A. Describe what you like about the library. B. Say what you don't like. C. Make suggestions for improvements. Write at least 150 words. You do not need to write any addresses. Begin your letter as follows. Dear Sir or Madam. Okay, so it's gonna be like this, a salutation, right? Before writing a letter, you should know the parts. Okay, so that you have the structure of your letter. You have an idea. Okay, you got the point. So what's the first thing to do? Like that. Okay, so the first thing to do is you need to have your salutation. It's gonna be the salutation. Salutation. And for example, dear sir or madam. Okay, then dear Mr. Junjun, or dear Mr. Sotero, or let's say dear Miss Elizabeth, their Mrs. Laika, things like that. You get the point? And then sometimes you will say also, dear Sotero, dear Jan. So how can we distinguish to put that particular type of a letter? The first thing to do is you need to distinguish, you need to determine the type of a letter first and foremost above all things. Okay, for example, if there is a type of question like this, say your local public library wants to make improvements to their services and facilities in order to get ideas from the public. Okay, it talks about the public, right? They have asked library users to send them, okay, and suggestions in writing, meaning to say you don't exactly know the people involved, things like that. Just like saying to whom it may concern, things like that. But to whom it may concern, it's not practiced nowadays, though it's acceptable. Okay, but that is not really standard of how to write a letter in terms of formal letter. So when you write a formal letter, you're gonna start with dear Mr. Sorry, dear sir or madam, no mister, okay, no mrs like that, and you don't even directly say dear Sotero. Again, dear sir or madam, okay, because you don't know also the gender of that particular, like, let's say you're applying for a job, you don't know the exact gender of that particular recruitment officer. Okay, so you may say dear, okay, sir or madam. Get the point? Okay, so things like that. And you are using the term also public. Okay, so meaning to say this is gonna be a formal letter. Okay, so this is gonna be a letter that you are trying to solicit something. Solicit something. Wait. You are suggesting something and recommending something. Okay, you get the point. So, the important bullets are describe what you like about the library. So, before you recommend and before you suggest or before you are trying to have recommendations and suggestions, you'll be able to describe why you like first. You get a point. What are the positive features? What is the positive impact of that library despite of your enormous, okay, blunt suggestions and recommendations that are in your brain. So you have to like it first. Okay? So it's a requirement because you are asked here. Okay, say what you don't like in the second bullet, meaning to say this is going to be talking about the disadvantage, the negative impact, and it's in there that you will be able to present your suggestions and recommendations. Okay, third sentence, let's say the bullet number 3. So make suggestions for improvements. Okay, so here specific suggestions will be highlighted. Because in the second sentence, you will say, I don't like, then you can support also with a negative statements generally. But in the third sentence, you have to detail why you have that kind of suggestions and improvements. So in your body of letter, it should be composed of the ballots. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. You get the point. So if you will answer this, then you will get low scores in your letter. So, for example, if you are trying to applying for a job like that, of course you will establish to extract the minds of the recruitment officer. Then you need to have your mentality. You need to have impression, okay, from them. Then you need to write a very stupendous and world-class letter, okay, so that it can create interest in them to choose your application and pattern, or subsequently you will be able to review your CV, curriculum vitae, or the resume and the rest of your credentials, specifically the transcribable records, the diploma, and the training certificates. It could be also the employer certificates as well. You get a point. Things like, because if they don't like the letter, so basically they will never go further to scrutinize, to assess, to evaluate your credentials further. If they felt, oh, I don't like really the letter, it looks like very lousy, things like that. It looks like weak, and I don't like because it's really not standard. It's very poor, things like that. Because sometimes first impression lasts, and then usually it's an advantage if you can present your English language very well in your content of your letter. You get a point, because that will be the first part, okay, in your application. You need to assess, evaluate the papers, the credentials, and normally your cover letter or your letter must be checked first if it is really qualifying to the potential candidates they want for their organization, things like that. You get the point. So to stand out your letter, you have to make it in a world-class manner with advanced vocabulary like that, grammatically correct with grammar range. Your lexical reserves will be almost in perfection, things like that, and then your part of speech will be structured very well, things like that. What do you mean by parts of speech? Noun, verb, adjective, interjection, conjunctions, pronoun, adverbs, things like that. You get okay the point? Okay. Now that's too much, right? So write at least 150 words. You don't not need to write any addresses. It's very clear. Meaning to say, you don't put the name. Oh, you don't need to write in address, and you don't have to specify the location. Okay. Begin your letter as follows. Dear Sir or Madam, it's understood this is a formal letter. Okay? Get the point. Now, after extracting the points of the questions, then you need to plan very well how to structure your letter. You get the point? So, conceptualization during your planning, how to present that sequentially chronologically with the right input and content that could be easily understood by the viewers, the readers, and the checkers as well. You get a point, things like that. Okay, I have here an example. Okay, so I didn't reach 20 minutes for conceptualizing this one. Okay, because writing a letter it's much easier compared to writing an essay. You get the point? It's gonna be like that. So this is a sample answer to that particular, letter question. So, greeting of dear sir or madam, greetings of peace and camaraderie, things like that. So, we need to say I have the salutation and I have the introduction. The introduction will be your greeting before going, before announcing, right? Okay, I need to explain the parts. First, salutation. Second, introduction. Okay, third will be your explanations, things like that. And then after the explanation, we have the reasoning, things like that. And then you have also your request or recommendation, the third paragraph. Okay, like that. And the last will be your, let's say, hoping for your kind consideration, things like that. Okay, and then you have also your ending. Okay, what do you mean by ending? For example, thanks, best regards, but in here it's not best regards. Okay, it's gonna be respectfully yours, things like that. Okay, you get the point. So that will be your ending. Okay, and then it's yours respectfully. It's just the same. Yours respectfully and respectfully yours sincerely and sincerely yours, things like that. Okay, you can never use best regards, best wishes in a formal letter. You get the point? Things like that. Again, oh, what's happening? You can never use best regards, warm wishes, best wishes, or saying, I hope you are well. I hope you are well and your family, like that. So it's informal, right? You get the point. So let's cite again my answer to that. Okay, first, okay, I have here the salutation. Dear Sir or Madam, I have the introduction. Okay, greetings of peace and camaraderie. Then I have here the overview, or let us say the explanation, but in a direct way. You get the point? The reasoning will be detailed, but a little bit of explanation will be like just like an overview. Go directly, things like that. Okay, so I am writing to you to let you know about the current plan of improvements regarding our local public library, since you already knew that our library was ancient and some amenities, resources, facilities, resources are all obsolete, outdated, and need to be upgraded. That is your introduction. Second paragraph. Okay, let me explain about the situation. Our library, in fact, is so spacious, meaning you like it because it's in the first ballot, that you must like it, okay? And offers variety of books, encyclopedias, school articles, reading references, magazine handbooks, and others in which there are wonderful and valuable features, okay? Like that. Period. Okay. Okay, at present, that most of the students of our people love and actively engage with. Okay, so meaning to say complex sentence. I thought it was ended, but there's still another supporting thought. See, okay, are wonderful and valuable features at present that most of the students and our people love, past tense, and actively engage with. You get the point? So it's gonna be your first ballot here. Describe what you like about the library. The second ballot, what you don't like today. However, things like that. There are fundamental library features that that needs to be upgraded. Okay, like the state of the art technology, computers, additional units, and attractive design of our chairs and tables, shelves, cabinets, lockers, adding adequate toilet facilities, modern latest trend books resources, and also escalating the number of librarian staffs as well. So you need to say you mentioned the second ballot. Say what you don't like. Okay. And the third, your recommendation and suggestion, right? Okay. Here. However, there are fundamental library features that most of our community members don't like. For instance, outdated technology, facilities, resources, services for convenience, and improving the quality standards of both interior and exterior architectural design, and many more. So these are what all you don't like. Okay. Your third paragraph will be the recommendation and suggestion. I would like to recommend and suggest to enhance and upgrade our computer units to cope up with the latest trend technology. Subsequently, we can improve the design of our architectural interior and exterior decorations. Okay, provide additional units of chairs, tables, lockers, cabinets, shelves, storage racks, toilets, and modernize updated books and informative articles like magazines, journals, encyclopedias, and other reading materials. Moreover, the additional of library stock numbers must be enhanced and planned also accordingly, because it is very necessary for the services of the people who wants to go inside the library for their guidance. Okay. Last, we need finally, since our public library is still old style, okay, we need to renovate both the interior and exterior architectural design to attract both local and international visitors, and it will add positive impact to in our community in terms of tourist attraction and help improve our locality revenues, because our public library involve a lot of antiques displays. Okay, things like that. How hoping for your utmost and kind consideration to uplift the quality of our public library in terms of services, technology, facilities, resources, and to preserve the value of knowledge of our people and the visitors as well, is really a continuous process in our community and society. Okay, yours sincerely, Sotero, things like that. So, my conclusion will match with my introduction. Okay, get the point? Get the point? See, I said here, some amenities, resources, facilities are obsolete, outdated, and need to be upgraded. But my conclusion, see, it being answered here also. Okay? Of people atmos and kind consideration to uplift the quality, okay, of our public library in terms of services, technology, facilities, and resources, and to preserve the value of knowledge, since this is a continuous process in our society, in our community. So I answered the introduction. Okay, generally also it linked in my body paragraph here of what I am recommending and suggesting, and what also I don't like, things like that, or like, and then there's a positive impact in the end. Okay, see, to preserve the value of knowledge, since this is a continuous process in our society, in our community, things like that. So this is an example of writing task. Get the point? Things like that. But you don't have to write in this manner. If you have to, but not necessarily. This is only an example if you write a letter to officially in a company, in a certain world class, collaborations, transactions like that. You get the point? Business, partnership, things like that. Or joining a competition, joining a contest in terms of writing. You get the point? So, but in your normal setup in the workplace, in your office, you don't have to do like this because there's no such big deal. You get the point? So all you have to do is to take care of your sense and thought, but be sure also that you have average grammar. Though I'm not saying perfect grammar, but it looks like silly also if you have, incorrect utilization of your grammar accuracy. You have points. It is expected that you have that already because you are having a job that involves tremendous and enormous writing at the same time. You get the point? Things like that. Okay, that's the example for our task one for 20 minutes. Then, if it is really 150 words, then you go beyond, but not less than 150 words. You get the point? In a competition, if you are less than 150 words, then your scores will be deducted, and there's possibility that you will never win. The computation, you get the point. So it should be above 150. Okay, but it's not 2 pages, obviously, because this is just a formal error. This is not an essay. You get the point? Things like that. Okay, any questions so far for how to write a letter? Okay, you get the point. So again, uh, you don't hire a judges for this, but it's better to have a commenters or a critic regarding this. So the criteria must be you have the coherence, the cohesion. What do you mean by coherence? Logical ideas connected together so that the flow of the sense and thought of your sentence and paragraph will be linked with each other, supporting with each other. Meaning, you are not talking out from the context. You are really steady on your point. Okay, you got the point, and then cohesively or cohesion, meaning to say you need to add more clauses, coordinate clauses, subordinate clauses, so that if there are no clauses and connectors, problem, there's no beauty on how you present your paragraph. For example, moreover, however, furthermore, likewise, subsequently, afterwards, like that, as a result of, in view of this matter, in my own point of view, from my point of view, personally, things like that, basically, actually, otherwise, whereas, whether it is good or bad, we still need to improve that. Things like that. Whether, Whether. And then, finally, blah, 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 so and so, therefore, we can say, blah, blah, like that. Okay, you need to add this in your letter, or sometimes also in connection to this, okay, in connection with this matter, like that, you get the point. So if there's no connectors, your letter will be dry. No, it looks like very shallow, even though there's a very big point there, because this adds attraction. Aside from attraction, it can build your paragraph and sentence or your content to be understood easily. You get the point? So there is a contrasting like that with the same flow. If contrasting, let's say, in spite of, despite of, like that, okay. Although, even if, like that, in accordance with, things like that. Okay, that's the point. So, notwithstanding, like that, nonetheless, nevertheless, by the way, anyway, anyhow, anyway, like that. So, it depends on the how you write. You got the point? So, it will be automatically be inserted there if it is fitting, if it is fit. But if it is not appropriate, do not put also for the sake that it looks like attractive. You defeat your purpose because, these connectors, subordinate clauses like that will be used appropriately. Okay, appropriateness is very important. Okay, how appropriate your utilization for these connectors. Okay, you got the point. So the basic connectors are and, but, or due, like that, with, things like that, with, but, due to that, like that, because, things like sometimes also while the other are playing basketball, they are also playing volleyball. Meaning it has been done simultaneously. That's why while is the best term for that. You get the point? So sometimes also during the Holy Week festival, people are repenting their sins. Things like you get the point, repent. You get the point? Things like that. Okay, get the point. So, muna siyang atong right task 20 for 20 minutes. Good for 20 minutes. Okay. But you don't have to be let's say you don't have to be afraid. Okay, in the actual examination, things like that. Okay. So, because normally your examiner will be a British girl or boy, things like that, okay? And then it looks like very convenient when they ask you things like that. And then personally, I experienced that, okay? And then it is very good, things like that. And The girl interviewed me and asked questions. She smiled at me. She smiled at me. And then my mouth never stops. The same as what I did in my vlog. There's no difference. Things like that. The way how I enunciate words, the way how I talk, the same story. If somebody will ask, things like that. Okay, so because it is a skill, it is an experience. Even though the questions will be changed, though you sometimes you will be having high adrenaline level, your heart palpitates to heartbeat because it's normal. Okay, because you have also the fear or the feeling of, let us say, afraid sometimes, right? Because you feel they are higher than you, things like that. You get the point? But the moment I noticed her voice and tone, it looks like she is not strapped, things like that. So the personality matters because at first when you have encountered, for example, strict interviewers, so of course you will try to adjust and sometimes you are not comfortable, right? So based on the experience really, it's very good to answer the kind or the type of personality. Okay, she is very, kind like that. And then when she starts to notice my fluency, she smiled. Things like, and especially when I mentioned the advanced vocabulary, because I also use some advanced there in the actual. Okay, because her question is are not difficult. Only how can you describe your childhood memory? What made you happy? Things like this. Very easy to answer, right? You get the point, and you can play around with the beautification with your words. Okay, so the only difference here is to put beauty and attraction so that it will become impressive by the interviewer and the examiner, because they will normally see a lot of candidates but the answers will be the same basically. But if they found out another person that really stands out in terms of vocabulary, fluency, the grammar accuracy, lexical wizards, things like that, then they will say, oh my gosh, things like that. Okay, got the point. Ganon. Okay, so if you also facing also in the future an international English examination, then you also feel what I feel. You get the point? Things like that. So I think okay, I will be having a high score in speaking test, I'm sure, and also in my writing test. The writing tests also are very easy, really. Okay, so the questions are not really complex. Okay, things like that because I'm used in writing and speaking, but I doubt a little bit to the listening and the reading. It looks like average because talking only George Washington as the president of the United States of America, the history of his past before he married like that, starting with his family, like that, blah blah blah. So then you can also understand, right? There's a sequencing of the year like that, and then I answered well. Also, I think so. Then the only issue is the listening test because the accent is not really the same in American accent because we in the Philippines we are introduced by American English language study in our English subjects starting from preschool, kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, grade 5, grade 6, and in high school and in college. Continuous English language study from a very young age, starting from 4 years old, 3 years old, until college. Things like that. That's why there's a fluency. That is also be true if you love English language because others also cannot speak straight and fluent in English. You get that point, even though they graduated in college or whatever, things like that. It depends on the person, by the way. But generally, we can. You get the point? Just like me, it's better for me to talk in English straight rather than talking in Tagalog straight. Okay? Because there are deep Tagalogs that I cannot understand. So I will be bulol, things like I will be able to pause for a while and have a little bit stoppage. But when I speak in English, it is straight. things like that. Anything come out of my mouth and easily for me to construct to have a connected speech. Things like that. You get the point? So I hope you like it for this particular writing test, task one, which is writing a letter. Okay, so that's the example is the formal letter. We have also seen the formal letter and the informal letter like that. Okay, just follow the sequence. Or you can go also to a lot of vloggers in terms of English language, things like that. You can go to the Cambridge University, like that. You can go to the Michigan University and the Oxford English language. Go there, listen carefully what they're talking, things like that. You get the point? Because they are very good in vocabulary, things like that. You get the point? And some independent or individual vloggers also from India. Okay, things like they're also very good in India. Vloggers, really. Okay, you get the point? And also, there's nothing in the Philippines, I wonder why. Maybe I just don't search. Okay, but go first to the Cambridge University, Oxford, and also the British Council. Their examples, things like that, and go over, study a lot, things like that, and learn vocabulary day by day. You get the point? So I taught you, right, how to do it, things like that in the past months, then apply that in the actual test day. You get the point? Things like that. So that will be your ticket in the future to look for a greener pasture. You get the point? Because that is the requirement. You can never be there if you will never pass the English international examination. It looks like difficult, especially for a country that is not an English speaking country, because you are facing the native, speakers, in which sometimes you can understand really the way they enunciate words. Things like, for example, me, I found difficulty in listening because, for example, singing, they are telling singing. They don't mention the letter G at the end. Singing, singing. Like that. You get the point? Loving, loving. They will pronounce loving as loving. You get the point? Things like that. And sometimes also the H, for example, herbal medicine in English, American English, they will say herbal medicine, herbal. They drop out the letter H. And sometimes, even though you know very well the English language, but it's not the same. The patterning of the accent. And that's a listening test. That's why I struggled. I'm struggled, but still I can adapt. But it's not really superior. It's not superlative compared to my speaking, writing, and also a little bit of reading. Reading kasi ando na siya. You can really understand because the passages will be there. Okay, you get the point. The context will be there. So, but listening really very difficult reading, especially their letter Z. They will pronounce that as Z. Letter Z, right? It's far from the American English. We pronounce it as letter Z, right? But they pronounce it Z. We will go to letter Z. What Z? Letter Z pala, as in zebra. Wala, nakakaloka Z, parang may letter A at D. Okay, so it's very difficult really guys do. Nakakaloka talaga. You get the point, and there's a lot also like that, like that in the words. It's very difficult to understand sometimes. Okay, gun, like that. Just I practice a little bit when I read and follow a little bit of British, like that. What I read again and notice the accent of British a little bit. I'm not saying this is a perfect British reading, but I just noticed and apply a little bit. Okay, the way how I pronounce. Wait for a while. Give me some time to check. Where's the question? Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so okay, it's gonna be like, oh my gosh. It's here. Okay. My eyesight also is not that very good. That's why. Okay, so like this. Say for example, write at least 150 words. You do not need to write any addresses. Begin your letter as follows. This is British English. But if I will say it in American English, write at least 150 words. You do not need to write any others. Just begin your letter as follows. I said, write 150 words. You do not need to write any others. Begin your letter as follows. Right? It's very different. It looks like bungi. You get the point? So the same thing like that. The video will be recorded and then you will listen and then you will ask, what is the title of the conversation? Like that. And then of course the way it is being pronounced, it looks like strange for you. You get the point, so you have to adjust. You need to study. Okay? You need to study extensively. You get the point? Okay, so that we can answer the diverse type of accents. Okay, get the point, ganon siya. Okay, so I don't have really an examiner for my front, at my front today. So thank you so much. Bye bye, guys, everybody. See you later. I hope you like this video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Okay, and if you can subscribe my Wapti channel, then I will be happy for that. And then thank you so much for watching, for supporting my vlogs. Okay, see you later. Remember that Jesus loves us. Bye bye, God bless everybody.